1. Japan's Unit 731, the biological abyss. Between 1935 and 1945, Japan turned a secret facility in Harbin into a human experiment camp. Researchers exposed thousands of men, women, and children to lethal bacteria and extreme environmental stress to document exactly how long a body lasts before breaking. They weren't looking for cures. They were looking to map the limits of human endurance. When the war ended, these architects of horror were not prosecuted. They only traded their findings for immunity, feeding their data into modern medical records. Much of what we know today about human biology remains the result of years of torture of thousands of people who did not survive to tell their experience. 2. Israel's MOSSAD, the Wrath of God. MOSSAD launched Operation Wrath of God after 11 athletes were sent to the next world at the 1972 Munich Olympics. They spent decades hunting every individual linked to the event across the planet. The agency turned everyday objects into weapons to eliminate targets. In Paris, they swapped a target's phone base for one with an explosive charge. The detonation was triggered the moment this subject answered a call. They used specialized substances to simulate natural deaths, leaving no trace behind. Agents lived as neighbors or confidants for years to fulfill orders issued decades prior, proving that no border protects you from the fury of Israel. 3. Nazi Germany's Gestapo, the anatomy of terror. The Gestapo turned every German citizen into a state informant. Why need an immense army if they had your own neighbors available? A single negative comment about the government, even in front of your own children, meant entry to the dungeon. They perfected the third degree, a brutal interrogation method using sleep deprivation and extreme cold to break the spirit of prisoners. This was the portal to the industrial extermination camps. Thousands were stacked like playing cards in windowless concrete vaults and sent to the next world in large numbers. The regime reduced human lives to a list of achievements, collecting mountains of hair and personal items to fund their war machine. 4. Russia's KGB, the sword and shield. The KGB was the most efficient surveillance machine of the Cold War. Their specialty was active measures, better known as psychological warfare. They used honey traps, sending attractive operatives to seduce foreign diplomats and blackmail them with compromising photos. The same business model as Jeffrey Epstein, basically. For those who couldn't be bought, they used the Bulgarian umbrella, a custom weapon that fired a tiny pellet of ricin into a target's leg while they walked down a busy street. The victim would lose their life days later from natural causes, while the real culprit vanished into the crowd. They monitored every phone call and opened every letter, ensuring that in the Soviet Union, even the walls had ears. 5. The CIA Project MK-Ultra. They operated in 80 institutions, including hospitals and prisons, searching for a way to eliminate your consciousness as an individual. During Operation Midnight Climax, the agency hired sex workers to lure unsuspecting citizens to covert safe houses. Agents gave them high-potency substances without their consent while watching behind two-way mirrors. They used sensory deprivation and electroshock therapy far beyond medical limits to reach a breaking point. The goal was to create a programmable human. In 1973, the CIA ordered the destruction of almost every document to hide the evidence. Thousands of victims were treated as lab rats and ultimately disposable by their own government. The CIA funded 149 projects to hack the human brain using millions of taxpayer dollars. 6. East Germany's STASI, the architects of decomposition. The communist Germans were the masters of Zersetzung, or decomposition, a process designed to destroy lives without firing a single bullet. They didn't lock you in a cell, they ruined your life from the outside. Agents would sneak into a target's home just to rearrange the furniture, change the scent of the sheets, or replace the tea brand. These microscopic changes were designed to make the target question their own sanity. Outside the home, they spread false rumors about the victim, ensuring they lost their job, their friends, and their marriage. By the time the victim was defeated, they had no idea who manipulated their mental health. 7. China's MSS, the digital panopticon. The Chinese MSS swapped physical punishment for total digital surveillance. Since 1983, they have turned your smartphone into a portable prison cell. Every message, purchase, and social media history feeds into a social credit system driven by artificial intelligence that dictates your worth as a person. If you are labeled as uncommitted, the state freezes your bank accounts and broadcasts your identity on giant screens across the city as a warning. In high surveillance zones, biometric sensors track your micro-expressions in search of signs of betrayal. Because of this, China is a world where the state not only observes your actions, but seeks to occupy your mind, turning your own biology into a witness against you. 8. Iran's IRGC, the transnational trap. Since 2020, they have perfected incentive traps, using specialized operatives to lure their enemies into neighboring countries with fake job offers or religious promises. The moment you cross the border, your chances of escaping and being free again are over. Once detained, you disappear into a process of sensory deprivation, where a total void of light and a sound designed to erase your consciousness awaits you. These units operate with a borderless reach, using remote technology to break your own hope for freedom. 9. North Korea's Bureau 121, the Ghost Army. Bureau 121 is the regime's digital extension, turning hackers into state-sanctioned soldiers. They recruit the country's top talent at a young age, isolating them in high-tech bunkers to wage war from behind a screen. Their primary job is to destabilize entire economies to fund the regime's nuclear programs. They've compromised major financial networks and hospitals globally, holding vital data for ransom. But their power isn't just technical. It's a family business. If an operative fails or you try to defect, the regime doesn't just punish you, but up to 3 generations of your family, sending them to forced labor camps. In this system, your digital skills are the only thing keeping your parents and children out of a prison. 10. UK's MI5 and MI6, the invisible hand. MI5 handles internal threats, while MI6 operates abroad. During the Cold War, they perfected the art of the long game. MI6 didn't just eliminate targets, they flipped them. They recruited Soviet defectors not just to obtain secrets, but to send false information to Moscow for years, breaking the enemy from the inside. They were pioneers in industrial espionage, using high-tech listening devices hidden in everything from office furniture to light bulbs. Their success wasn't based on brute force, but on the ability to remain invisible while dictating the rules of global espionage.